Once upon a time, in a kingdom wrapped in golden sunlight and silent sorrow, there lived a princess named Aloan. She was known across the lands for her beauty, her kindness, and the sadness that never left her eyes. The people loved her, yet they whispered that her heart carried a pain no one could heal. Aloan lived in a grand palace of white marble, with gardens full of blooming roses, but her soul felt as empty as a forgotten winter sky. Every night, she would stand by her window, looking at the stars, wishing for something she could not name. She had everything, yet she felt she had nothing. One cold evening, as a storm rolled over the kingdom and thunder cracked across the sky, something extraordinary happened. Far beyond the palace walls, deep in the dark forest where no one dared to go, a strange light appeared. It was not lightning. It was not fire. It was something alive. In the heart of that glowing light, a baby was born. The baby did not cry like ordinary children. Instead, soft sparkles of magic danced around its tiny hands and feet. The ground beneath it shimmered, and flowers bloomed instantly where its fingers touched the earth. The baby's eyes glowed faintly, like two tiny stars lost in the night. This child was no ordinary child. This child was magic itself. But the forest was dangerous. Dark creatures lurked in the shadows, drawn to the baby's light. And far away, a cruel sorcerer felt the sudden burst of magic. His heart filled with greed. He wanted that power. He needed that child. Back in the palace, Princess Aloan felt something stir within her chest. A warmth. A pull. As if her heart was calling her somewhere. She could not ignore it. That very night, without telling anyone, she wrapped herself in a cloak and slipped out of the palace. The storm raged, but she walked forward. Her feet carried her toward the forest. The closer she got, the stronger the feeling became. It was as if someone was calling for her help. When she reached the forest, fear tried to stop her. But her heart was braver than her fear. She stepped inside. The trees were tall and twisted, their branches whispering secrets in the wind. The darkness was thick, but a faint glow guided her deeper. Step by step, she followed it. Until finally, she saw the baby. Lying alone on the cold ground. Surrounded by flickering light. Aloan gasped softly. The baby looked so small. So fragile. Yet so powerful. As she knelt beside the child, the baby reached out with tiny hands. The moment its fingers touched her skin, something incredible happened. A warm light spread through her body. Her sadness faded. Her heart, which had been heavy for so long, felt light for the first time. Tears filled her eyes. Not of sorrow. But of something she had almost forgotten, hope. The baby smiled. And in that moment, Aloan knew. This child needed her. And she needed this child. But suddenly, the forest grew colder. The light dimmed. A dark presence filled the air. The sorcerer had arrived. His shadow stretched across the trees. His voice was deep and cruel. "Give me the child," he demanded. Aloan held the baby close. "No," she whispered. The sorcerer laughed. "You cannot protect what you do not understand." But Aloan's grip tightened. "I don't need to understand," she said softly. "I just need to protect." The baby's magic began to glow brighter. The light surrounded them both. The sorcerer stepped back, shielding his eyes. But he was powerful. He raised his hand, sending a wave of dark energy toward them. Aloan closed her eyes, bracing for the impact. But it never came. When she opened her eyes, she saw something unbelievable. The baby had stopped the magic. With its tiny hands. The darkness faded, replaced by pure, radiant light. The forest itself seemed to breathe again. The sorcerer screamed in anger. "This power belongs to me." But the baby's magic grew stronger. It wasn't angry. It wasn't violent. It was gentle. But unstoppable. The light pushed the sorcerer. back, forcing him to retreat into the shadows. And then, just like that, he was gone. Silence returned to the forest. Alolan held the baby close, her heart racing. "You're safe now," she whispered. The baby giggled softly. As if it understood. As if it trusted her completely. From that moment on, Alolan made a promise. She would protect this child. No matter what. She brought the baby back to the palace. At first, people were afraid. They didn't understand the child's magic. But Alolan stood firm. "This child is not a danger," she said. "This child is a gift." And slowly, the kingdom began to change. Where the baby crawled, flowers bloomed. Where it laughed, sadness faded. Even the sick began to heal. The baby brought light into every dark corner. But not everything was peaceful. The sorcerer had not given up. He watched from afar, waiting. Planning. And one night, he struck again. The palace fell into darkness. Shadows crept through the halls. Guards fell. The air grew cold. Alolan woke to the sound of silence. A terrible, unnatural silence. She ran to the baby's room. But the child was gone. Her heart shattered. No. She searched everywhere. Calling. Crying. Praying. Until she found a single glowing trail leading out of the palace. Without hesitation, she followed it. Through the night. Through the forest. Through her fear. She refused to stop. Because this time, she wasn't alone in her pain. This time, someone needed her. Deep in the forest, she found the sorcerer's lair. Dark. Cold. Terrifying. But she stepped inside anyway. Her heart was strong now. Stronger than ever before. She saw the baby, trapped in a circle of dark magic. Its light was dim. Struggling. The sorcerer stood nearby, smiling. "You came," he said. "Of course I did," Alolan replied. "That child belongs to me now." "No," she said firmly. "That child belongs to no one." The sorcerer laughed. "Then watch as I take its power." He began his spell. Dark energy swirled around the baby. The child cried. For the first time. A soft, heartbreaking cry. Alolan's heart broke. She couldn't let this happen. She ran forward, ignoring the darkness, ignoring the pain as it tried to stop her. She reached the circle. And stepped inside. The magic burned her. But she didn't stop. She picked up the baby and held it close. "I'm here," she whispered. The baby's light flickered. Then slowly. It began to glow again. Stronger. Brighter. The darkness cracked. The sorcerer screamed. "No." The light exploded outward, breaking the spell, shattering the shadows, and filling the entire forest with warmth. The sorcerer was consumed by his own darkness and vanished forever. And then, silence. Peaceful, gentle silence. Alolan fell to her knees, holding the baby tightly. Tears streamed down her face. "You're safe," she whispered again. The baby smiled. And placed its tiny hand on her cheek. The light that followed was soft and warm. It healed her wounds. But more than that. It healed her heart completely. From that day on, Alolan was no longer the sad princess. She became something more. A protector. A mother. A symbol of hope. The magical child grew under her care, bringing light wherever it went. And the kingdom, once filled with quiet sorrow, became a place of joy and wonder. People no longer whispered about sadness. They spoke of miracles. And every night, instead of standing alone by the window, Alolan would sit beside the child, watching the stars together. Her heart was no longer empty. Because sometimes, the greatest magic is not power. It is love.